How's everybody doing? Hoping all is well. We're gonna make a graphic similar to this one. Let's get it. First thing you're gonna do, open up Photoshop, and you're gonna create a new file. I like to double the size that I want to export it out as. And we're gonna import the image that we're going to imitate or try to recreate. There that is. Okay, first you're gonna need a couple things. Obviously, you're gonna want to grab the players and some photographs that you're gonna want to use. You're gonna want to search for your team that you're gonna use. Just search in Google. Like my favorite team's the Bills, so I'm gonna use the Buffalo Bills. I just put in Buffalo Bills patch, and then like an image of a patch came up. Just make sure like it's a nice, easy image to cut out. Also, you're gonna want a helmet looking down. It doesn't necessarily have to be your team, but it'd just be easier if it is. And then maybe lastly, you might want to search for some helmets like this. I'm sure if you just entered like old school helmet, vector helmet logos or something, I'm sure something will come up for you. Okay, but once you get all of those things, we'll move forward. Okay, we're gonna start by importing the players, and we're gonna cut those out. I have made other videos of how to do that. Alright, so I'm gonna do it the quick way here. So if it's selected on our background, Command J, create a new layer. Duplicate that layer, Command J. Then you're gonna go over here, just remove the background. And the better resolution image you have, the better it's going to do. Most cases, if you want to do it really nice, you're gonna have to come in here with a brush, and you'd want to get that nice and cleaned up there. On your mask selected, B for your brush. Make sure black is selected and you're on the mask, and that will remove parts that you want to remove. Bit of the blue edges there that it didn't quite get. And you would just want to do that around your entire image until it's looking nice and clean. And then you would right click and create a smart object. Convert to a smart object. I'm just gonna name this. Alright, now you're gonna do that to your player that you wanted. And I'm gonna copy that over, Command C. And put that over here, Command V, Command T, and you can scale it up. Right around here. Alright, so when we get there, we'll move on to the next step. I'm actually gonna hide that right now. Okay, the next part we're going to do is I'm gonna make these squares for the cards and the photos. So with that, we're gonna go down to our rectangle tool. We'll just do this main one first here. We're just gonna create the placeholder for it actually just right now. Okay, just color the white. And then we're gonna rotate it so it kind of matches. Command T, and you can grab this corner here and rotate it till it pretty much lines up where it is. We're gonna get it the same size. If you hold shift, you can just drag to one side. Alright, and if you notice, the edges on this are a little rounded here. So what we're gonna do with ours, we're gonna go here in the properties panel here, and grab these corners and we're gonna round them off. They're looking pretty good so far, so we'll leave that right there. We're gonna hide that for the moment. And now we gotta make some other shapes here so we can get this card effect. Make it look like a card. These photos will be a lot simpler to do. So with that hidden, we're gonna try to make these shapes here. I'm thinking the pen tool might be the better option to make these inside here. She might go to the circle like that one, but I'm trying to go to the pen tool. It's gonna make us a shape. Being that this one's going to be behind that other image, you don't necessarily need to get that perfect there. And we're going to make a selection. And then once that's selected, we're going to go over here and we're going to grab a solid color. It doesn't really matter what color it is. It might be easier if it's a little different so you can see the difference between them. That's what you should have so far. So we're going to hide that as well. Actually, we're going to keep that for a second. We're going to do this circle. Just going to put out a circle real quick. I'm going to just try to fit that in here. We'll make this circle, I don't know, the same color. Command T so we can get it. Around the same size. And if you hold shift, like I said, you could just move the side and it won't actually necessarily move the scale of it up. Okay. That's what we're working with so far. Okay, and then we're gonna make another image, or another shape, I'm sorry. and make a selection. And we're gonna go to a solid color. And these are basically gonna be like placeholders. We're eventually gonna fill these in with the names and the number and stuff. Okay, so the last one. All right, so next we're gonna make this line on the outside. And what we're gonna do is get our rectangle tool again. But this time we're gonna take off the fill and we're gonna give the stroke a color. All right, this particular moment we're just gonna make a square, and then we're gonna adjust it here in a moment. Let's just bump this up so we can see it for a second. Command T, we're gonna rotate it till it lines up. And we're going to move it where it needs to go. We're actually gonna move the stroke down. All right, maybe 18. Okay, that looks better. And now we're gonna round those edges to meet what's already been done. Yeah, we need to make these the right size. Those are the right size. And actually it might have to go to individual, changing them. To try to meet that up. Alright, that looks a lot better. We're gonna turn everything on, see where we at. Okay, looks like we're getting there. Now remember, you're not gonna see this corner here because it's gonna be covered by another image. But it's looking close, we're getting there. Okay, so next we're just gonna finish up the little designs right here on the side. Okay, so we're gonna make these little rectangles here. So I'm gonna get the marquee tool here. So draw the square. I'm gonna go to solid color. And I'm just gonna change it to like a blue. Command C. Zoom in a little. Rotate a little. I'm actually gonna put it under that rectangle. And then I'm gonna do a couple more, and I'm gonna make them, these ones red, just to match that solid color. Command T. You just want them something similar, something close. You do want it to look good. But all those should be underneath that original red rectangle. And I'm gonna just copy in Command J and just duplicate a couple of those. And I'm gonna put the blue on top actually. Or I'm sorry, the blue has to stay on the bottom. It has to stay under that. I don't know, the blue can be on top of these ones. I'm gonna put the blue on top. And then these other ones I'm just gonna pull down and try to put into place. Because once we got our white card on, then we'll be able to really adjust it. Alright, I think there was one more. Okay, now we're gonna take all of those and we're gonna Command J. And then we're gonna pull those over to the other side. They should already line up pretty close. And I just selected all those and I'm gonna drag them down below. Let's see if just making them all go to a rectangle will help fix those edges. Oops. I'm just holding Alt or Option. Alright, seems to help. Command T, and we're just gonna stretch these to, oops. Hold shift and bring them out. Alright. Well, it looks like it's white, but and I'm gonna do the same thing with the other ones on the other side. Okay, so that's gonna be the first card. And I'm gonna grab all of these and all the way down here, and I'm gonna Command G. So I'm gonna put them all in a folder. I'm gonna put that as card 1. Alright. Okay, and actually I'm gonna put this on top of that. Alright. So you can kind of see where we're gonna be going with that. Okay. So that's what we got so far. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna hide this card. And we're gonna make these photographs right here. Okay, so you're gonna hit U. So it brings up the rectangle tool. And you're just gonna make a rectangle. We're gonna make these white. And Command T. We're gonna rotate it. Hold shift, drag it in. Hold shift in the bottom, drag it up. Okay. Alright, now we're gonna hide that. And we're gonna duplicate it. Unselect it, and then again, we're gonna change the color just to red so we can see the difference. Or we can even do black. So we can see the difference, Command T. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna shape this one to be like the one right in the middle there. And a command selected that, and you can actually rotate the edges a little so it fits the proportions better. Alright, just hit enter. Photo back. Alright. And I named this so you can keep the front part on the front. Alright, now I'm gonna select both of these. Command G. I'm gonna call that photo 1. I'm gonna command, oops. Now I'm gonna command J. And move this over here, and I'm gonna try to rotate that so it fits this one. Might be off a tad, but now, because I'm trying to go faster, so this video isn't forever. Alright. Now what we're gonna do is call this one photo 2. And double click here. And put some drop shadow so we can see the difference between these two photos. And I am not liking this one right here. This photo front here, I'm gonna delete that. I'm gonna hide the back. I'm gonna get my pen tool, and I'm just gonna make this shape. I'm gonna make a selection. Solid color. I don't know, I just think that looks better. Alright. And then photo 1, we're also gonna put some drop shadow on. So it looks like it's popping up in 3D. And we can actually do that to the card 1 too. I don't know if you can see it, but alright, we just need one more card over here. Okay, I'm trying to copy photo 2. Alright, rotate it. And we're also going to put it behind that card 1. Rename it so we know which one it is. Okay, we're getting closer. This is probably the most tedious part of it, is making all the shapes and everything. But the last one we're going to do is this pennant here. So, we're going to hide that, hide that. Alright, I'm gonna grab the pen tool. You can see it kind of extends out farther than here, so we're gonna go out. and just adjust it so it fits just right. Okay, we're gonna hide that for one moment. And I'm gonna use the U tool, or press U, and I'm gonna get the rectangle tool. Alright, I'm gonna take this rectangle, I'm gonna hold Option or Alt, and I'm gonna select that till it's in here. And I'm gonna Command T once it's in here, and I'm going to make sure. Oops. And it just stays within there. Okay. Okay, that works. I Command J again. Put this over here. The arrow keys, we'll nudge it. And we're just gonna put both of those on here. Alright, and I make one more for the pennant. So Command J on none of these. And this one I'm going to make blue. I'll probably change these colors in the end. I'm just doing it quick now so I can move along. Yeah, so I get that in between those so they look like stripes. Okay. Alright, and that's gonna be the pennant. And select all of these, Command G. Alright, you see it's starting to come together. So once you get to that state, we'll move along. Okay, so this is basically where it should be right now. So what we're gonna do is open up the helmet picture that you have. And we're gonna Command J. Hide that back one. Remove the background. And like I said, the bigger resolution that you have, the better job that this is gonna do at first. And if you want to do a really good job, you'd go in there and clean up with the brush like I showed before. But right now we're just going to convert that to a smart object. I'm going to call that helmet. Command C. Command V. Command T. And then I'm just going to shrink that down. Alright, we're just going to do that for now. And we'll change the shadows and make our own shadows here in a second. Alright, but for right now, we're going to take this Josh Allen picture and we're going to put it into our card folder, and we're going to put it right on top of the biggest image here. And you're going to Alt or Option, and so it's just in here right this second. And we'll make it pop out a little bit later, but right now we're just going to put it in there. And then we can start by opening up the other images right now. I'm going to Command C. And I want to put that one here, I think, in this front one. That was photo 2. So what I'm going to do is place it in this folder. Command V. Alt or Option and put it to the front side here. So then it's only contained to this photo, or to this front part here. So I'm going to move it till it's in position. Command T, so I can pull it down. You can rotate it if you want. All right. Okay, and then we're gonna name that T. Thomas. Convert to a smart object. Command Shift A, and it's gonna bring up your camera raw here. And we're just gonna make the image black and white right this second. And then we're gonna have our other image here. And we're gonna call it. And we're gonna Command G, or sorry, Command J. Rename it. Convert to a smart object. And we can even do that now. We're Command Shift A. We're just gonna make it black and white. Command C. And we're gonna put this into the first photo. Command V. All right, that looks good so far. So what I'm gonna do now is create a solid color. I'm gonna hide all those. And I'm gonna put a gradient overlay on here. I'm unsure if I want to make it like this brown color like the desk, or like a football type, or if I want to make it similar to like the Bills color with the blue. We'll try the blue first. I'm not sure if the colors are matching up yet or not, but seeing that's what the blue. We'll go with that right this second. All right. And then I told you guys to try to find like a patch. I'm gonna open that up right now. All right, now we just wanna Command J, And we're gonna remove the background. Convert it to a smart object. Copy and paste it over here. And as you can see in this, it's like down here in this corner, blown up. Let's see what they got there. Underneath the photo. It kind of looks better on top of it, but we'll try to put it underneath. Something like that, man. Okay, once you got your patch in, close that one out. And we'll move on to the next step after that. Okay, next up, we're gonna bring in the helmets that you can search the vector helmets. If you just do a Google search, you should find the ones that you're looking for. These. Let's on top for a second. Command T, and you can shrink that down. It's pretty close right this second. I'm gonna go to edit, transform, flip horizontal. I'm gonna leave that right there. All right, the next thing I wanted to do was make these pictures kind of have like a little bit more of a realistic feel. So I'm gonna go to this photo right here first. All right, and we're gonna command or control click this first placeholder of the photo. And we're gonna go to the back side one. We're gonna click the mask. And in the properties panel, we're gonna go up here and we're gonna invert it. And we're gonna drag that all the way to the top of the photo. And then we're gonna clear the layer style that we created for the folder. And then we're just gonna put it on top of the photo back here, the drop shadow. So then it kind of looks like it has like ridge edges. All right, so you want to do that for the other two photos, and after that, we'll move on to the next step. Okay, and now that we have the Bill's colors logo loaded up, we can now make the colors more accurate. So we can work on this, the card part now. This blue part, we're gonna double click and grab that blue right there. And any part that's blue, I'm gonna do that to it just to make sure we get the actual colors. The reds look good already, but we'll do it just to get the accurate one. And then after that, we'll move on to the next step. Okay, once you change out those for the cards, we're gonna go to the pennant, and we're gonna change that red there to this red. And we're gonna change that blue to that blue. Alright, we're getting there. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take everything that we've done so far, select everything by holding shift, and then hit Command G, and it's gonna put everything into a folder. I'm gonna call that the design, and then I can now just slip between the two. I'm gonna try to mess with this helmet for a second. I mean, really everything is just your taste. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's more than one way to skin a cat, you know, just it's basically what you think looks good. So I'm gonna rotate this a little. Bring that right there, maybe. Alright, and now we can work on our shadow of the helmet, I believe. So what we're gonna do is, it's more than one way to do this, but I'm gonna try. I think this way will be the most effective. I'm gonna highlight everything so it selects the whole helmet, and then I'm gonna go down here and select the solid color. You guessed it, I'm gonna do black. Maybe like a little. Alright, I'm gonna put that under the helmet. Then we're gonna hit Command T. And then we're gonna hit this warp button where we can actually warp the shadow. And we move it around until we get something that we like. Because I'm gonna put the whole, like the light seems to be coming from this way. So I'm gonna project the shadows accordingly. Like right there already looks pretty decent. I mean, for not really doing much. I'm liking that right there. Alright, now what I'm gonna do with that, I'm gonna label it. It's always good to label your layers so that you don't get lost. And I'm gonna convert that to a smart object. Alright, now what I'm gonna do is go up here to the filters. I'm gonna go to blur. I'm gonna do a little motion blur. And it's pretty decent. Alright, that looks good right this second for me. So it kind of looks like the light's hitting over here, casting the shadow. Alright. So once you get to that step, and you get about this far, we'll move on to some of the last steps here. Everything should be looking similar to this. I'm gonna try to work on this a little more. I was just going to do this part by just filling in the colors like that. The ellipses right here. All right. But I also had another idea. I wanted to try to like maybe put this patch texture behind there. So I have to go to the patch, where I put it, and then Command J. I'm gonna bring this up to that part right here, and bring it up here. We're going to add it just to that part. I think that looks pretty cool right in there. Kind of gives it like more of a textured look. So I'm gonna Command J again, and I'm gonna put it in front of the other one. Drop it in. You hold Alt or Option, and then we're gonna position it. I have to make it larger. Or it just might not do it for that particular part. Maybe just in that corner looks cool. Or maybe not at all. It was just a thought. Just trying to be creative. But right now, I'll just leave it up. Alright, so we need that other helmet over in the circle. So select it, Command J. Just move it right over here. Okay, that looks good right there. Now to make Josh pop out right here, I have to go down into the card, and we're gonna Command J. But this time we're gonna drag it on top of the card. And now we're gonna put a mask. Press B to get your brush out. And then we're just going to erase the parts that we want still hidden behind the card. And we just want a hardness to 100%. Need to drop that below that photo. There you go. Alright, now see, it kind of looks like he's popping up. You could even like hide the helmet back there and just have his arm coming out if you wanted. We could try that. So that it's still, he's in there, but his arm's swinging out. We'll go with that right now. And then we want the ball in front of these, so yeah, so we'll have to drop those down. Alright. Now we're going to take this image and we're going to go to filter. We're going to go to camera raw. You're going to raise up the shadows. the contrast, and clarity. Hit OK. All right. Okay, I should have something similar to that, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, next we're gonna try to give this like that grunge type look. And there's a website called texturelabs.org. That's where I downloaded this texture that I'm about to import, but I just wanna hide everything but the background right this second. And I'm gonna place embedded. Here's the texture. It was texturelabs.org. It was called Paper 256. Yeah, I'm sure if you just search that, it'll come right up for you if you want this particular one. But there was other ones too that might fit your needs better. Everything seems to be free there. But we're gonna put this here. We're gonna raise it up. Right about there, so it kind of looks worn. Now here's where you're gonna start to see it come together. You're gonna change your blending mode up here. Make sure that that's selected. I'm gonna go to screen. And you can see it kind of looks faded and worn. And I'll bring everything back on. There you go. Okay, so we're getting there. Just a few final steps. So we're gonna do kind of like that stadium style that you see here. We'll add the text and then try to get some of that grain or fog there. And then add some more shadows and try to make it look like a cinematic view. Alright, so once you get to this far, we'll move on to the next step. Alright, the next step, we're going to throw in that little stadium part behind it. So we're going to go to File, Open. Alright, Command J. And we're going to convert that to a smart object. And then go up to Filter, Camera Raw. And we're going to raise up the shadows, the contrast, and the clarity. Hit OK. Next, we're going to go to the Filter, Stylize, Oil Paint, and yeah, right around 0.5. Hit OK. And we're going to label that Command C. And we go over to the card. Command V. And we're going to place those both under the card. Scale this up. Okay. Alright, that looks good so far. I'm actually going to bring that helmet back up, I think. So what we're going to do is go to the top layer where we did that to. Select the mask. hit the brush. Make sure you have white as the color on top. The white will bring it back. Yeah, I'm liking that better. Alright, so go back down to the card. That's looking pretty good so far. Close that out. Now we're gonna go up to the helmet. And we're gonna go to filter the camera raw. And we're gonna raise the shadows, contrast, and clear it. Hit OK. Kind of brightens it up there. Add some more detailed shadows. Looks more like the light's hitting from that side. And there's more advanced things that you could do to bring that out. But just for the sake of the video, move along. We're just gonna, that gets the job done right now. Alright, so once you get to that point, we'll move on to the next step, which is going to be like the labeling, text, the font. Alright, so now we're gonna add some little text to the pen up here. Down to that. Hit T on your keyboard. Put K and J. Alright, then I'm gonna hit Command T. Stretch that up a little. Alright, then we're gonna right click over here and we're gonna go to warp text. Just select the arch right now and then we'll just bring it back down to 0. And then we're gonna bring it this way. So it fits. Looks good right this second. And just with the arrow key, you can nudge it up and down, left and right. Looks good right there to me. Now I'm gonna double click here in the corner. Then we're gonna go to strip. And try 8 here. Alright, the next font is gonna be behind this image is Josh Allen, so we're going to go around this area. T on the keyboard. Do J dot M. I'm just going to put this in the card. Right above that particular box. We're going to use a different font. I like this thin because there's many different styles to it. Alright, kind of like that. Then I'm just going to duplicate that, Command J. And put 17. Put that in front of this one. Put those closer together. I didn't like the way that those were spaced. Alright. And being that the Bills are playing the Broncos in the 2025-26 playoffs in the divisional round, I have the divisional logo here that I'm going to throw in. I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to place that. Yeah, like I said, I'm not sure where to place this yet. So I want them both to be seen. There we go. I'm liking that right there. Then I have to put the game information over here. Yeah, I'm liking that a lot better. Alright. Lastly, we'll put the... Lastly, for the font, we'll put this game information here. So, 0. Paragraph goes. Now we just have to shrink that down. Not that. Man, J. We'll do the time. And what station? I'm gonna add some drop shadow. Then once you get that far, we'll move on to the next steps. Last 2 steps here. What we're gonna do is kind of give it another texture on top. So in the file, I'm gonna open that, place embedded. I got one here from Texture Labs also, ink paint. Now I'm just gonna go over here, go to screen, and as you can see, it kind of gives it a little bit more texture there. Alright. Lastly, what I like to do is kind of like color grade the image. I'm gonna go to here, and we're gonna go to gradient maps. I like to just do a black and white, kind of like gets everything in unison. At least I like to believe so. And do multiply. That just like adds it to it. Take it all the way off, and then I'm just going to apply some dynamics. There you go. Lastly, I'm going to add another gradient map. And this time I have an orange and teal look that I like. Sometimes I like to adjust it, lighten it up a little. See what that looks like. Okay, I like the overlay. What I'm gonna do is drop it all the way out, and then we'll bring it back in to right about our taste. 50% is looking good, maybe a little bit more. You can kind of see this in the image now. Alright. And so, that's that. Please like and subscribe if you would like to see more videos like this. It helps me let you know that you're interested in this type of videos and information. And again, thanks for watching. Really appreciate it.